hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
We can hear you, Penelope.
All right, okay. My name is Penelope Ann Hughes, and I'm a resident of unincorporated Castro Valley. In 50 days, you will be making a very important decision, adopting new county district boundary lines, a decision that will impact the lives of 1.65 million residents of Alameda County for the next 10 years. You who made the final decisions do so at the will of the residents. In the past, the maps were drawn primarily based upon population equity in a top-down approach. In 2021, today, this approach is no longer legal. It is imperative that we all recognize that now the redistricting is a bottom-up one. With the new laws in place, the process requires input from the residents, community of interest maps and their descriptions, and participation in the formation and review of the 5 draft maps. Specifically, this means appropriate time must be spent by the supervisors to listen to and hear from the people you represent. Appropriate time must be given to read the COIs. This information now rises up to you, the final decision makers. The expectation by law is that the decision will reflect the ranked criteria in conjunction with population equity and with the inclusion of input from the Alameda County residents. We all need to remember the new redistricting process is bottoms up, grassroots approach, a collaborative effort by residents, consultants, county staff, and elected supervisors. Thank you for listening.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Good evening, Board of Supervisors and county staff. My name is Rita Duncan, and I live in the unincorporated community of Fairview. I'm speaking tonight to advocate keeping the unincorporated communities together in one district. We do not have the additional layer of support and resources provided by city government. The unincorporated communities are underserved and need a laser focus on their service needs and resolutions to issues. This is illustrated by the COVID-19 pandemic. There were no direct resources provided to the 11,000 Fairview residents, 2,000 which are African Americans. And there are currently 80 plus COVID cases in Fairview, and 645 African Americans are still unvaccinated. The statistics for the other unincorporated communities are dismal as well. There are 152,000 residents, 70% of which are minorities in the unincorporated communities. I believe we will have a stronger voice and more cohesive collaborative effort if we are together in one district. I also want to advocate for the Board of Supervisors, legal counsel, and the independent consultant to adhere to the new redistricting laws, specifically to all of the rank priorities and not just focus on population equality. The rank criteria of complying with the Federal Voting Rights Act, being geographically contiguous, respecting communities of interest, and respecting census designated places support the case of keeping the unincorporated communities together. Thank you again for the opportunity to share my views on this very important governance process.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Thank you. This is Nick Pilch. Thank you for giving us 3 minutes on this very important part of the democratic process. I want to put a plug in for citizens redistricting committees. Berkeley and Oakland have both gone to citizens redistricting committees, which is a much fairer way to redistrict, keep it in charge of the people. We see what happens in other parts of the country when elected bodies do their own redistricting. They have disfavored, disadvantaged communities and communities of color. I also want to comment on the comment by Supervisor Chan, who said that she would give more weight to communities of interest submitted by more people. Please keep in mind the comments of another commenter who said that those with more privilege and means are more likely to be able to participate in this process. It is your duty to do your best to identify communities of interest and take all diligence in doing so. You must seek evidence if there's any evidence of a community of interest, even if the only evidence you have is one person submitting that COI. I want to comment on cities. As others have commented, the COIs take precedent over the splitting up of cities. Although you might not wish to split up cities, communities of interest must be taken into consideration above that consideration. A point about another democratic concern is that Oakland currently has 3 representatives, and it concerns me that a city has 3 representatives on the Board of Supervisors. This might set up a situation where a majority, 3 out of 5 supervisors, can be lobbied by a city on a subject that benefits that city. Those 3 supervisors might feel compelled to devote a certain way in favor of a city because they all represent it. Finally, I want to support other commenters who have stated that starting with a clean slate can be a good way to go. Don't dismiss it. This is something that they're considering in Oakland, where I urge you to take a look at the proposed district maps. They've done some complete withdrawals of certain districts, withdrawings of certain, sorry, they've done complete redrawings of certain districts in surprising ways, and it is something that you can consider doing. Thank you for your time.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Hello, can you hear me? Oh, I'm unmuted now. Can you hear me? Can somebody confirm you can hear me?
We can hear you, Andrew.
Thank you. My name's Andrew Turnbull, and I've lived in Alameda County for 46 of my 60 years. One of the first newspapers I ever read was started in 1963, and it's called The Independent. The newspaper's masthead reads, "Serving Dublin, Livermore, Pleasanton, Sunol." Therefore, since I could first read in the mid-60s, I've always thought of Dublin, Livermore, Pleasanton, and Sunol as being together. Today, we call that my community of interest. In addition to Dublin, Livermore, and Pleasanton, I think of Castro Valley, most like our Tri-Valley community. After all, I was born there, and I take my small animals to the vet there. I shop for most things I need in Pleasanton, including groceries. I go to Dublin for BART, to go to department stores and specialty stores. And Livermore is a favorite for me since my childhood was there, but I also go to the stores and I see my horse trainer there. I'd like to note that students from Sunol, once they've completed Sunol Glen School, attend high school in Pleasanton School District. The hills to our west, through which Sunol Grade and Niles Canyon are carved, are natural boundaries that separate my community from Fremont and Union City. The pizza parlors in Niles Fremont, on the other side of Niles Canyon, refuse to deliver pizza to Sunol. So I depend on my own community of interest, Pleasanton, for my pizza to be delivered to my house. At a recent similar evening meeting that I was delighted to say that it actually started on time, thank you very much, I watched your consultant teach the supervisors at a recent meeting about the Fair Maps Act. The main 7 items are be of nearly equal population, comply with the Federal Voting Rights Act, be geographically contiguous, respect communities of interest, respect cities and census designated places, use recognizable natural and artificial boundaries to the greatest extent possible, and be as compact as possible given the other priorities. In addition to my COI, this morning, I submitted a suggested map of all 5 districts that I believe would meet the requirements and could be modified at the detailed level based on the COIs that you're hearing from others. I'm confident you'll be able to create a new map that meets the requirements of the Fair Maps Act. Thank you for your respect and attention.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Hi, Hi, my name is Barisha Spriggs. I am a community leader from Ashland in the Alameda County Unincorporated area. I have been a resident for nearly 30 years here in Ashland. I believe that all of the unincorporated areas, which are cluster Ashland, Castro Valley, Cherryland, Fairview, and San Lorenzo, should stay together. We, as was previously stated, we have no city level government or services, and we have had difficulty obtaining the appropriate level of services for our area in a multitude of ways during COVID, during and of course prior to COVID as well. In addition, I want to complain about Ashland being separated into two supervisor districts. This is definitely a disservice to Ashland. The majority of Ashland depends on the San Lorenzo School District for our kids. We have a great per capita of families with kids under 18. And we depend on San Lorenzo for a lot of our other services, the San Lorenzo Library, so forth, so on. So our communities, we should not be disconnected from one another. So those are my comments. And I look forward to this transparent process. Thank you so much for your time.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Hi, my name is Helen Hutchison, and I would like to urge you to instruct your mappers to do as they suggested. To return with two visualizations, one based on the current district maps, just adjusting them, and one that starts from just the county map and tries to and puts together a map districts based on the communities of interest. Thank you very much.
That was the last speaker.
Good evening, Board. Just want to, based on the conversation that has occurred, for the next meeting, it'll be November 2nd, and I believe District 1 will be hosting that meeting. What we will bring is at least the direction you've heard so far is visualization with using the existing boundaries with minor tweaks to incorporate the communities of interest. And then there was a second question. It was a great segue for Helen to ask if then another visualization, and we could do a couple of them without just looking at communities of interest and bringing that to your board for the next meeting, along with any proposals that have been submitted online by the community.
Okay, any other questions or comments from board members? Thank you very much, and I want to thank all of those who participated in giving us your thoughts and opinions. Unless there's any other business before the redistricting.
Supervisor,
issue.
we need to call for public input?
Oh, yeah.
That's what it's-
Yes, you're absolutely right. Public input.
Hi, my name is Kyoko Takayama. I kind of missed the opportunity to raise hand somehow. Anyhow, I just wanted to see what is the timeline of the redistricting. I believe that there needs to be 2 weeks before the hearing after the proposed maps. It seems like the next step is a visualization map, and how those will actually fit into the timeline I would like to learn today. Thank you.
Thank you.
The visualizations will be given at the next meeting, and from there the board can start narrowing down as to what the proposed maps could be when we're drafting the maps. So in the next 5 meetings, that's when we'll be narrowing down what the proposed draft map would be.
President Carson, I believe I heard us in the past say that we provided the tool to the public. So are they submitting their own
Correct.
maps throughout this process, throughout the 5 weeks, or what?
Correct.
Okay.
So the proposals, of course, the earlier the proposals are submitted, it's a right for review rather than later in the process.
And then
But
could you-
by the 5th meeting, which I believe is November 20th, well, not November 20th, December 2nd,
Is the final meeting.
basically needs to, we need to have the map selected.
Thank you.
David Parker, we're on public input. You're on the line.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to offer a comment. My name is David Parker. I was speaking on behalf of the Baha'i community of Alameda County West. We serve the areas of all of unincorporated Alameda County west of 680, which includes Sunol, Castro Valley, San Lorenzo, Ashland, Cherryland, and Fairview. So we have a very strong passion and outlook for the unincorporated areas. And while we often work with and support our fellow Baha'is in the surrounding areas, we really recognize that every community has its own challenges. One of our guiding principles as Baha'is is justice. And this means that we have to strive to protect and nurture the voices of those who are in the minority, those who are often underrepresented, underprivileged, and underserved. And the key thing that I want to point out is that the unincorporated areas are 70% people of color. And these areas really depend on the Board of Supervisors to a unique degree, as many others have noted. And really, for a community to have a sense of itself, to grow and develop and advance as a community, it needs unity. It needs coherence and working together. And we urge you, please pay close attention to the communities of interest as that have been provided to you and humbly offered. And we ask really that you prioritize justice in your decision making.
That was the last speaker.
Okay, thank you very much. All right. Unless there's still any other comment from board members, this special meeting for redistricting is adjourned. Okay, good evening. I want to call back into open session the regular meeting for October 26, 2021. And we will resume where we left off with speakers regarding the special item for the 12 o'clock set matter, which is the resolution at this point, and is discussion and possible action for a resolution declaring the County of Alameda as non-binding intent to contribute the county's share of incremental property taxes to finance portions of the City of Oakland's Waterfront Ballpark District at Howard Terminal for 45 years through an enhanced infrastructure financing district. Before we go back into open session, let me just say that the board, we're conducting the Board of Supervisors meeting with all board members present, participating by teleconference in response to the directives issued by the local and state health officers regarding the COVID-19 pandemic. The board chambers are only open to essential county personnel. Alameda County recognizes the important and invaluable role of public participation in government comment. Be reminded that disruptive conduct that renders orderly conduct of the meeting unfeasible will not be tolerated. This includes disruptive conduct that may occur through public comment. The chair will order the removal of individuals who are willfully disrupting the meeting so that the meeting can continue. Will the clerk please do roll call?
Supervisor Halbert,
Here.
Supervisor Valle, excuse Supervisor Chan, Supervisor Miley,
Here.
President Carson.
Present. Does the clerk want to again read the detailed instructions?
Detailed instructions are provided in the teleconferencing guidelines. A link to the document is included in today's agenda. If you are joining the meeting using a computer, use the button at the bottom of your screen to raise your hand to request to speak. When called to speak, please unmute your speaker and state your name. If you are calling in, dial *9 to raise your hand to speak. When you are called to speak, the host will automatically unmute your mic to enable you to speak. If you decide not to speak, notify the clerk when your call is unmuted, or you may simply hang up and dial back into the meeting. As a reminder, you may always just observe the meeting without participating by clicking on the View Now link on the county webpage at acgov.org. When called, you will have
2 minutes.
2 minutes to speak on the item. Please limit your remarks to the time allocated. Thank you.
And again, I want to thank everybody for their patience and understanding. We are now at comment on the item.
And Supervisor Carson,
Yes.
can we confirm that people who spoke before we broke?
Can you what?
For people who spoke before we took the break, they can't speak on this item a second time?
County Council has said for the individuals who spoke on this item before we took a break, you cannot speak on this item a second time.
Callers, we are on item 52.2, the Waterfront Ballpark District. Please state your name. You will have 2 minutes to speak.
Good evening, Supervisors. My name is Kristen Connolly. I'm President and CEO of the East Bay Leadership Council. I'm here to encourage you to support the non-binding resolution to move forward on Howard Terminal. This is an unprecedented economic development opportunity. I stand with my colleagues and counterparts at the Bay Area Council's Economic Institute that did an analysis of the benefits to the region, of the jobs created, of the opportunity to have unprecedented benefits to the community, housing that could be created. This really is a unique opportunity, and the county is in a position to help move this forward. So I encourage you to support this resolution and help keep the Oakland A's in Oakland. Thank you very much.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Good evening. My name is Luis Padilla, 53-year resident of Alameda County. Calling in support of the Howard Terminal project, I urge the Board of Supervisors to look at the big picture and support this project. The revitalization of Jack London Square area would result in millions of dollars for the city of Oakland and the county. Look at what a new ballpark has done for the revitalization to other cities, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, just to name a few. Please have the vision to see this project through. Make it the jewel of the East Bay. Keep the A's in Oakland. I yield myself.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Hi, my name is Zinni Abraham, CEO of Zinni 62 Media, which owns Oakland News Now. I have a real concern regarding the Center Urban document that purported to report the tax increment financing revenue. First of all, it states that under how they looked at it, it starts at 2020 in terms of the redevelopment area timeframe they used, and then it goes out to 2039. But they say it sunsets with the current RDA. They don't talk at all about a 45-year period for the one for the ballpark. My point is, you're not getting the actual right tax increment revenue from a 45-year bonding period. And then the county administrators people just took that number and they rubber stamped it without thought. So everything you're using is completely wrong. Center Urban's work is wrong, and no one should be basing numbers. I don't care if you're for this or against it on what Center Urban did. This needs to be torn up and tried again. You can phase in redevelopment revenue monies. I know because I created the concept in 1996. The Business Times wrote about it. All you have to do is type Abraham Gambit redevelopment in Google. It pops up number one. We need to get our act together, folks. Thank you.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. My name is Miguel. I'm a resident of the Bay Area. I urge the council to vote for this non-binding agreement. I think it's a good, it's not perfect, but it is a good plan to bring, to make Oakland a destination city of the future and bring it on par to have millions of visitors every year and increase some of the taxing for the city and the county, and to provide some of that funding for some of the really important matters that the city and county care about. So that's it. I yield. Thank you.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, how you guys doing? Former Alameda County resident, current Sacramento resident. I urge the county to go forward with Howard Terminal. I also just want to state that Oakland News Now and then other East Oakland Stadium Alliance groups who are spitting out false narratives about Howard Terminal. You guys are getting a really good deal that's going to benefit Oakland and the entire region. I urge you guys to just enter in this non-binding agreement vote. You guys have time to enter in this vote, look over what you guys need to look over, and then discuss what you guys need to discuss amongst each other. This is going to look good for Oakland. This is going to look good for Alameda County, the entire region. So yeah, I urge you guys to vote. Thank you.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Hi, my name is Max with the Marine Engineers. I usually don't prepare any statements when I come to these meetings, and I just write down questions as these meetings go along. And here's a list so far that, as I've listened to this meeting, have been written down. When this process first started, the A's were saying that no public funds were needed. Why now, through the last few months, are we all discussing public funds for anything the A's need? Why? When the A's staying at the Coliseum and building a new stadium there, how was that a loss of jobs? What could the construction, 25,000 construction jobs, 7,100 ballpark jobs, they're still staying. They're not leaving. The A's say they're rooted in Oakland. Are they threatening to take their ball and leave if their billionaire owner doesn't get his way? The mayor had to come on and tell you you'd be a hero for voting for this proposal, this non-binding agreement. Why does the mayor have to tug at heartstrings if this is such a good plan. Ports up and down both coasts are having, shipping backlogs and container backlogs, and they're looking to expand their footprint. And Oakland is entertaining the idea of doing the opposite. Why? Thank you for considering all that before you vote.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Hello. Hi. Good evening to all you guys, supervisors out there. I know it's been a long, long day, but this is what I have to say. I've been a proud Oakland citizen for a long, long time. And what's going on now is just so embarrassing. You guys stole Mr. Fisher real cheap. That first part of $85 million. Okay, $85 million. You sold that to him, thinking that he was going to build right there at the Coliseum. But oh, no. He had a surprise for you guys. He knew you guys were going to get out of the business of the sport. But guess what? He came right back to you. Like the man said above, he said it was supposed to have been all publicly funded. Mr. Fisher is playing each and every one of you guys. Each and one of you guys. And it'd be a shame that the town will be all messed up because we as citizens got to pay for that. Taxpayers. When we're coming out of a pandemic, there's a lot of things that we can do otherwise with that money. Instead of Mr. Fisher be more of a millionaire, he and his friends, because he can't go to Las Vegas because he can't build those 3,000 condos. All the things that he wants to do, those are all for his dream. That's all it is. I'm pleading you guys to vote no. Yeah, maybe that area, Council Supervisor Valley, maybe that area do need a facial uplift, but they don't need that kind of uplift. And those jobs will be right there where they should. You guys need to force his hand because he's disrespected each and every one of you guys at the last minute, like Chan say. We didn't know nothing about it. Y'all thought y'all was through. And watch your hands. And here he comes. He's true. And he's disrespecting you guys.
Thank you very much.
Slow this thing down. No.
Thank you.
Please state your name. You're on the line. Deshawn, you're on the line.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Good evening. My name is Tasian Kwamaleli. I serve as the Government and Public Affairs Rep for Schnitzer Steel. First, I just want to thank the supervisors for their unwavering commitment and for dealing with this topic today. As stated, I firmly believe the board moved in the right direction when this item first came before you in late June. As you all stated during that call and numerous times today in this meeting, the county sold its portion of the Coliseum to get out of the sports business. Like every other caller on this call, we want the A's to stay in Oakland, but we believe it is unfair to you all, given the impacts of COVID and issues such as homelessness, mental health, and increased poverty, that you are being pressured to address an issue that really falls on the city and the A's to sort through. Investing in Oakland is the utmost importance to all of us. As you have stated, the city nor the A's have agreed upon the terms for the basis of this deal, including affordable housing and community benefits, to even make this project a reality. And while I am grateful, the city nor the A's have provided sufficient information for the board to properly assess whether to participate in the proposed IFD. Finally, the city nor the A's have prioritized the impact this development will cause to industrial businesses, more specifically the port. I strongly urge the county to ensure it's not pressured into a fiscally irresponsible decision. Thank you all.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Hi, I'm Claudia Chimini. I'm with the Marine Engineers Beneficial Association. We have our union hall in Oakland. So right now, our members work on the cargo ships that you see in San Francisco Bay. We have all these cargo ships at anchor. The supply line is endangered. Right now, there's lack of available dock space for ships in Oakland. Howard Terminal is available space. We're expected to give up some of that precious space to a team that shows little commitment to staying in Oakland. If we give up that commercial dock space, we'll be hard pressed to get it back. What will we do next time there's a supply chain crisis? Thank you.
Thank you.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Good evening. I'm Tim Frank, and I'm the Executive Director of the Center for Sustainable Neighborhoods. And I'm calling in to encourage you to support the non-binding resolution. The Howard's Terminal project actually has the opportunity to help revitalize the Jack London area, Square area. This is a live, work, play area that has the capacity to be extremely sustainable and a really important economic asset for the city and for the region. It has been identified by the city in its maps, looking at where to locate commercial and residential development so as to minimize climate change as one of the most sustainable locations to locate both. We agree with that and think that this is a critically important location for infill development. It'll be good for the city, good for the county, and good for the region and its infrastructure. So we think that this is an important opportunity and are convinced that a vibrant waterfront community can coexist with the port with good design considerations to make sure that there are appropriate buffers, which this project already has. So we think that we can have a thriving port and a thriving waterfront and downtown working together, and think that your support for this is critical, and would encourage you to support it. And it's not only a great opportunity for the climate, but also to help with the just transition by providing high quality jobs over a construction period that will last up to 30 years. This is clearly good for the economy, good for social justice, and for the environment. Those are the three pillars of sustainability. It's a home run of a project, and we would be thrilled to see your support for it this evening. Thank you.
Please state your name. You're on the line. Trent, please unmute your mic. You're on the line.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Trent Willis. I'm the president of the International Longshore and Warehouse Union Local 10. I represent approximately 1,600 dock workers, members here in the Bay Area. And I don't want to, first of all, thank you to the board for hearing us. And as representing my membership, our position is that we wish that you would vote no on this measure to build provide funds to build the proposed stadium. And I don't want to repeat everything that you've heard the opponents of this say. We pretty much agree with all of the statements we've heard. The one thing that I keep hearing that's ringing out from the proponents, meaning the people who support the stadium initiative, is that it would not be a loss of jobs. The Local 10 membership wholeheartedly disagrees with that, okay? Because as you can see right now, with the after effects of the COVID-19 pandemic and the problems that we're having with the supply chain throughout the United States, and in particular on the West Coast, the Port of Oakland has been begging for cargo ship work here. We don't have a backup in our estuary of ships right now. Okay, so the ocean carriers have absolutely made a decision. Some ocean carriers have made the decision to bypass this port. And we see the effects that that's having on the industry. We have over 80 ships backed up in the port of Los Angeles, Long Beach right now. And that's directly because the ocean carriers are bypassing the port.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Yeah, my name is D.
Alameda County resident. I want to connect a couple of dots as it relates to the needs of the county and the economic outcome of the IFD proposal. When discussing the IFD, several times today, the supervisors have raised the issue of healthcare being a key priority, which needs funds. Well, today is an opportunity to demonstrate your commitment to healthcare, as well as other needs of the county, which need funds. Opting into the IFD will generate incremental revenue that you do not have today, and no one would have without your participation in the IFD. The project wouldn't get built. These tax revenues can be used towards healthcare for members of the community, city, county, etc. Ironically, this includes those who have been directly negatively impacted by the pollution, poison chemicals shoved into the water and air by Schnitzer Steel, idling trucks, and other members of East Oakland Stadium Alliance, who would do anything they can to see their businesses continue to operate without regulation, oversight, recourse, and despite the irreversible harm that they've caused to the health of the community. I urge you to vote to opt into the IFD, non-binding, as a signal of intent to use those incremental funds that you receive to reinvest into the health and well-being of the city and county residents. Keep the A's in town, build affordable housing, add jobs, realize the potential of the waterfront. You're being given an opportunity to be known as a transformational and visionary government body. Don't strike out. Thank you.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, my name is Austin Tam. I'm a disability advocate, and I'm one with a disability, and I'm on the Alameda County Democratic Central Committee for AD 18. I'm urging you all to vote no, because this is shameful and disgraceful. Blood will be on your hands. The A's don't care about Oakland. They only care about making their billionaire owner money. That is why they are seeking almost $1 billion in public funds to pay for the private real estate development while refusing to pay a single penny of their own money for community benefits. This sets a bad precedent, and the county should not give into the A's bully tactics. It's going to be impacting people of color, people with disabilities, cause gentrification, and also, if it ain't broken, why fix it? What is the rush? What are you hiding? And who are you trying to fool? Thank you.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Hello, my name is Josh Frank. I'm a resident of Alameda County in Oakland, and I just want to urge you to vote yes for this non-binding agreement. This is a critical project for our region that's going to up-level the city of Oakland, the county, and the entire region. It's going to be a matter of enormous civic pride for the city. It's financially a good idea. The project pays for itself through revenue generated through the new ballpark district, and it will add housing to our region, which is desperately in need of housing. So with all this, it feels a bit like a no-brainer to vote for this project. If this project doesn't go through, it will be one of the biggest missed opportunities for the city in its history. The waterfront of Oakland should be a place that is accessible and available to the residents of Oakland and not just a commercial port. So again, I encourage you all to vote yes for this project. Thank you.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. My name is James, and I'm with Local 10 in San Francisco, and the amount of jobs that this can stop is not even heard of, because for one, right now we're struggling. There's a lot of people on the port, and our community is not, we can't live without the jobs that's from all the cargo ships that we need to come inside, our port to make, and I mean, you can hear like it's unheard of for me to even begin to start. I mean, there is so much going on with our union and what we represent here at the waterfront. And if the A's take on our waterfront, then we have nothing to come back to. We have nothing. It's destroying a lot of people and our families. So I will have to say no, definitely no. Thank you.
Please state your name. You're on the line. Desmond, please unmute your mic.
Hi, my name is Desmond Jeffries. I'm a member of the Oakland East Bay Democratic Club and a resident of the city of Oakland. I want to say happy Halloween, and let me begin by saying this proposal and resolution is scary. Thank you, Board of Supervisors and Supervisor Carson and Supervisor Chan for asking significant questions and concerns about this project. I'm advising the Board of Supervisors to vote no on the infrastructure enhancement district, financing district for the Howard Terminal. I'm advising the board to not allow Dave Cabal and Oakland A to conduct their own study and analysis on the enhanced infrastructure finance district. That report will obviously be biased and to the benefit of those that pay for the study. If this project was beneficial to the region or to a city, you would see Walnut Creek advocating for the A's, or Napa, or Marin, or Dublin. Vallejo has a waterfront property, they can build there. All the development they want in Jack London can and is already built at the Oakland Coliseum, which is surrounded by all the modes of transportation. You have the airport, you have the BART, you have a shuttle that goes from the airport to the BART. You have the Caltrain, you have the bus terminal. You could even add a gondola from the Coliseum to Jack London, right? We need redevelopment for East Oakland and more low-income housing, not more fancy condos. Did you know we could use the same enhanced infrastructure financing district to fix our streets and expand our roads? Did you know we could use the same enhanced infrastructure financing district to fund low-income, affordable housing? We should be doing that now, not just using it for this terminal and for this development. What has the return on investment been for decades since the A's has been at its current location? Have they improved the streets in East Oakland? Have they improved their ballpark? Has the A's added revenue enhancement, amenities, and beautification to add value to the Coliseum and the East Oakland community? Hell no, with a capital H. We know $1 billion in cost of this development will increase 3 times the amount with contract extensions, delays, and amendments to the previous approved funding. We only got a baseline estimate because the A submitted a superficial skeleton environmental impact report. Don't mess with the port. Stop trying to be like San Francisco or the Giants. They do not have an active port like Oakland. Also, the A's say they have union-funded jobs, but working with the mouse is an economic analysis study that was done with Disneyland that had union employees, but those union employees were not getting paid a living wage, and were living in tents and under the freeway. So we need union jobs that are paying a living wage. And
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello, I'm calling in to strongly urge you to support this non-binding resolution. First, I want to call out this mind-blowing amount of misinformation that a lot of people are resorting to lies to sink this incredible project. I've heard a lot of people say this project will hurt people of color. Where is the outrage over the pollution that is poisoning our neighbors? I also hear a lot of people talk about how this could potentially interrupt the port. Let's take a look at Seattle. They have 2 stadiums right next to their port. That port is dealing with the backlog. Port of Oakland is not. So I, again, strongly urge you guys to vote yes.
Please state your name. You're on the line. James, please unmute your mic.
Hi there. Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, thank you. So sorry. Hi, my name is James Winterbottom. I'm calling as an Oakland and Alameda County resident, as a homeowner, as a taxpayer, and as a father of 2 young kids. And I'm urging the county supervisors to vote yes on a non-binding resolution tonight. As many of the commenters and indeed the supervisors themselves, I started as a skeptic for this project. I'm not an A's fan. I don't particularly care if they stay or go. And I'm familiar that many stadium deals of the past wind up costing the public money without the promised benefits, Mount Davis being a prime example. That said, the more I dug into the details, I realized 2 things. Number one, it's nearly all upside for the city and county, as the funds are raised from the development itself, and the development will build 3,000 new residential units, around 1,000 of which would be affordable. And number 2, I realized that most of the arguments against the development are misleading or in bad faith. And I think a big reason for that is if you look at the biggest opponents for the project, it's number 1, Schnitzer Steel, a plant that not only releases pollution into West Oakland and surrounding community, but routinely just catches fire for some reason. And then global multi-billion-dollar shipping companies who don't care about Oakland or the county aside from their very narrow self-interest. Instead of listening to those 2, I'd urge you instead to listen to, number 1, the Port's Board of Commissioners, who said it would not be disruptive to port operations. I'd urge you to listen to third-party consultants who you've hired to be objective. And if there's problems with the current analysis, a yes vote tonight will allow you to fix the analysis going forward or hire someone else to fix it. And number 3, I'd urge you to listen to constituents like the man from West Oakland earlier, who said he just wants to finally have access to the bay from where he lives. I understand it would likely be extremely politically challenging for the Board of Supervisors. No one wants to look like they're giving handouts to billionaires for sports, and that's certainly the narrative out there. But I also want to stress that a no vote could be politically challenging as well, given that the incremental revenue from the development could be used to fund the county's most important challenges. So I thank you for your time.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Hi, this is Linda Adams. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, so I just wanted to make a couple of comments without taking away from everyone else's opinion, because it's clear that there's so many different opinions here. But one thing that we do know for a fact is John Fisher is an investor. And there's a fact that an investor is looking for profit. You will never find an investor that is not paying attention to the rate of his investment, return on his investment. Never. So there's something in it for him. I don't think he personally is looking at the effects that it's going to have on the community around him, because the bottom line is this is an investment for him. So I would like for Alameda County to really, if you guys are going to consider this, really look at it, look at the numbers, because it's very clear that they've been pulling the wool over. Nothing was clear in the documents earlier, the things that was discussed earlier. You have to really understand the bottom line, and to be able to get reimbursed for money that they're going to be spending over a period of time. Why do you need to get reimbursed? You're a private investor looking for public funding. You should not be requesting to be reimbursed. And so I just urge you guys to really, really look at this like a fine needle in a haystack to make sure that it is what everything that you are looking for out of it. And will it affect the port? Yes, it will. It's going to affect the port because it's already traffic congestions down there now. And once you add residential and a ballpark And one thing about it is you can change to a private land, but the water is always going to be public. So how unsafe would it be for private personal ships on the water while you have big cargo ships coming in?
Thank you
And
very
shouldn't
much.
it
I really appreciate it.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Hello, my name is Paul. Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you, Paul.
Thank you very much for taking my call. And I hope you guys are all staying safe through the storm and through the coronavirus. I wish you all the best. The opponents, if there were no sports stadiums near ports and Oakland was going to be the first one to try this, I'd say maybe it's a bad idea. We already have real world examples of this working. Seattle, the Mariners and Seahawks, Major League Baseball and NFL, are right next to the Port of Seattle is a little spread out, but they're right next to the Port of Seattle. In Cleveland, you have they're going to be the Guardians next year. They're changing their name of Major League Baseball. The Browns and the Cavaliers are all within about a mile of the Port of Cleveland. So the opponents may not like this idea, and I'm not trying to belittle them, but they cannot, as far as a real world example is concerned, they cannot make the claim that this hasn't been done before. Once again, Cleveland, all three of its sports teams are around the Port of Cleveland. The Browns are something like 0.2 miles away from the Port of Cleveland. They're right next door. They're neighboring right next door. So you might not like the idea, but this has not killed the Port of Seattle with its 2 teams nearby, or the Port of Cleveland with its 3 teams nearby. These are thriving ports. The Port of Cleveland is vitally important to the Midwest, and they have only grown in employment. So there is not a real world example in the United States of sports teams killing ports. That hasn't happened. We have real world examples of ports and sports pairing up and being fine neighbors, and it doesn't cause a problem. Again, you may not like the idea of the A's moving to the port. It has not hurt real world ports in this country. It's a fact. It hasn't happened. It does not hurt ports.
Thank you very much.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Hi, my name is Mike Davey. My friends call me the mayor of Oakland. This meeting has gone on way too long. Is this what we're going to be doing every single time? Anyway, you guys should vote and support this project. It's good for the city. It's good for everybody. And it's a win-win situation. But this meeting has just gone on way too darn long. Thank you.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Hi, this is Tyrell Robertson, President and CEO of Split Lab Ventures, also a resident of Oakland and Alameda County. I just want to urge the Board of Supervisors here to vote in favor of not only the Howard Terminal Waterfront Ballpark, but to really consider what it's bringing to Oakland as a city and also to Alameda County. Not only is it an economic investment, but it's also just something that is bringing intrinsic value to the city. I question a lot of the opponents here, especially on folks who are arguing against this because of the impact to the Port of Oakland. My question to you is, what has the port done to improve that area for the many years it's already been there? What economic benefit has it given to people? What economic benefit has it driven in terms of trying to improve not only the area, but the healthcare, but also the recidivism around homelessness. We talk about the job loss, but we don't talk about the job creation. There's probably more job growth and spurring in that if we were to support not only the Howard Terminal, but it would bring in more revenue, it would bring in more tourism, it would bring in a lot more investment, both commercially as well as corporately. If we think about just all of the tech companies that are also looking to move to Oakland. I also want to look at an immediate example. The Brooklyn Basin project has already been announced as a success. not only with housing, but also just revitalizing an area that was once decrepit. So I really want you guys to consider that saying no to this, you guys have no fallback. You don't have any plans to actually improve this area without this option. So it would be ludicrous for us to ignore the what this is bringing to the area and the future of Oakland. It's time for Oakland to grow up. Thank you.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you.
Thank you, Mr. Carson. My name is Hena Gita. I'm born and raised real West Oakland resident, 30 years of my life. I just want to touch on a point that I haven't heard yet. And that's, I don't know if you guys know about the Levi Stadium sound ordinance, but that will be coming into effect by people in condos asking the city to do something about the 24-hour operations that are at the port right next door. And those jobs being temporary, these longshore jobs are prominent for us. Like I said, healthcare and everything that they say, that's a big thing, of course.
Thank you.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Hi, good morning. I'm sorry, good night. My name is Soham Fozadar. First off, I am not a Alameda County resident, but I am a passionate East fan and Bay Area resident. I would like to urge the county of Oakland, the county of Alameda to vote yes on the Howard Terminal project. A lot of people have been saying that this hasn't been done. A good example, this has been done in the Bay Area. Just look across the bay to Oracle Park, home of the San Francisco Giants. That area has been improved tenfold, and they still have a working port. In fact, I was in that area a few days ago on Sunday during the pouring rain, and I realized that the local chapter of the ILVW was right next to the ballpark. And I think that's a clear example of the port and the port and this baseball working together in harmony. Supervisor Miley, I want you to vote yes on this project because I saw you behind Libby's shop the day the Raiders left Oakland, and I hope that you have that feeling of loss, and I hope you don't have that same reaction to the A's. I love coming to Oakland. My dad and sister are Giants fans, and they look at me with pity. I would love to come to the A's, come to Oakland, but if you don't do your job and the A's leave, I will never step foot in the East Bay again. Please vote yes on the project. Thank you. I yield my time.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Hello. Hi. My name is Grant Chen. I'm a resident of West Oakland, and I'd urge you guys to support this project.
Hi, my name is Iman Kashakamural. I am just letting you guys know that there are several cities that are, the majority of cities I've seen that don't have a ballpark are doing just fine. In fact, the majority of cities I see with the ballpark, there is so much inequity. So I see the enhanced infrastructure finance district. The only way seeing this work is to do it at the Coliseum. There is a fallback, and the fallback is to do it at the Coliseum. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Yeah, my name is Brad Gilson. I was born and raised in Oakland, California. I would like to urge the council to please vote in support of this non-binding resolution. As far as I can understand, there is zero downside to voting yes for the resolution. It's simply extending time for study, which Dave Cavill said he would pay for, to study, to inform your concerns. I don't see any downside to voting no right now. In terms of the port individuals, and I just don't understand, do these jobs, do the individuals working these jobs live in the county? Is that money staying in the county? If you do build the Howard Terminal project, look to San Diego. I feel like if you look at pictures of the downtown area from 20 years ago, it's an industrial wasteland. It looks very much like the Howard Terminal area right now. If you look today, how much money are they making from property taxes alone in the condo buildings that keep popping up because it's a good idea to build there because people want to go there? It seems like a no-brainer to me. Yeah, I mean, that's a port as well, San Diego. Seems like there's a very busy port right there. And they commingle. And Petco Park has been nothing but a boon to that community, to that city, to their coffers. I think it makes a lot of sense. I would urge you to vote yes, please. Thank you.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Hi, my name is Grant Chen. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I'm a resident of West Oakland. I'd urge you guys to vote yes on this project. As the previous person said, there seems to be no downside. This is a non-binding vote. And I really care about fiscal responsibility. And I think that in this case, this would be a great boon to the county and to Oakland, where you guys we would be getting more tax revenue from the project if it were to happen, whereas currently we're hardly getting anything from it. And there's probably no other proposal that will happen in a very long time if it weren't built. So yes, some tax money from the project would go towards infrastructure that would help environmental remediation, help build a seawall that would need to happen anyways. And I think that this would really help generate a lot more, millions of dollars of tax revenue, help keep the A's in Oakland, help build much needed housing, and would keep the A's in Oakland. So while you wouldn't, I don't think the county is staying in the sports business by doing this. Like Mayor Schaaf said, would help build a park, help remediate environmental issues there, and build much needed housing and affordable housing. So please vote yes.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Hello, my name is Nick Danoff. I am a resident of Oakland. I'm a voter. I have many relatives who are all in the Supervisor Carson's district. We all feel very strongly that this is an incredibly important opportunity here that you absolutely must not blow by refusing to hold a vote or voting no tonight. This is an opportunity to further move forward in this process, learn more, remediate any concerns you have. That's fantastic that you're interested in doing that. I was a little disappointed with what looks like the lack of preparation and homework that was done in preparation for this meeting to study all the details, but that's just fine. You can buy yourself more time. What you absolutely must not do is kill the deal tonight by voting no or refusing to hold a vote. Please, we've heard all the reasons for this. Any concerns we know can be worked out. There is, as many other people have said, nothing but downside to voting no or refusing to hold a vote tonight. I urge you to vote yes in favor of the EIFD. Thank you very much.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Hello, my name's Isaac Pingree. I'm a lifelong resident of Alameda and Oakland. It just seems like what we have now is a toxic site where trucks idle, and we have the opportunity to provide environmental remediation, a public park, shoreline access, and housing. Oh, and added tax revenue for the county. Versus what? I've been following this meeting today, and it's hard to figure out the upside of leaving a brownfield site between Schnitzer Steel and Jack London Square. What value is that to the county? I want to echo what the last caller said. You had 4 months to get your questions answered, to try and make the changes in this plan that you want to see. And as I've sat here all day following along, it's been disheartening to see from the supervisors that you haven't really done that. So we've got this toxic waterfront site, and we have an opportunity to turn it into something else. And I don't think there is a great alternate option. And so I don't see what is difficult about choosing not to derail this project. Thank you.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Thank you, President Carson. This is Eddie Escoto Alvarez, business representative for the Alameda County Building Construction Trades Council. Arise to speak that you approved tonight's non-binding resolution for not just the workers, but for the city of Oakland. This is something the city really could use. If you look at historically, this is the first type of ballpark that was built in Baltimore in 1991, opened in 92, which led to DC, Seattle, San Francisco, and San Diego. They've all been very good for the local economy. Just in DC alone, in the naval yards, that has boomed a housing boom, if you could say the least. And if we could copy the same thing here in this area, including and as in San Diego, it would be incredible. Long Beach almost had this opportunity with Anaheim about 3 years ago, and they jumped all over for the same reason that we would like you to jump over it. It's good for the economy, it's good for workers, and it's good for the community to have a place that we can come to 81 nights a year and root on our favorite boys on the field. So thank you very much, and we approve. We hope.
Please state your name. You're on the line.
Yeah, my name is Jake Klein, and I'm a Oakland business owner, and I'm an Alameda County resident. And it's very important for me for the A's to stay here in Oakland. And not only would I buy season tickets, I would spend more time in Oakland. I would, it's an anchor tenant for the Jack London Square. It'll bring people down to the square. I was just in Long Beach, and they have a whole community down by the waterfront with an active port. And this project can coexist with a port. And I would just really like you to vote yes today on this project. Thank you.
There are no more speakers on this item.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate all of the speakers today. Appreciate hearing your points of view. Comments from the board. Supervisor Valle.
Mr. President, I know that the board probably has questions and wants to deliberate, but at the appropriate moment, I would like to make a motion. Thank you.
Okay. Board members.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, board members' remarks. Is Supervisor Miley's hand up? Because I see a hand up.
No.
No?
No.
Okay. Supervisor Halbert.
Yes, President Carson. And to everyone who stuck it through the entire meeting, thank you. To the people that presented today from the city, from the A's organization, from the county staff, and from the port. Indeed, it's a long day. I'd like to thank everyone for sticking through and for agreeing to agendize this. As was stated, it's time, I believe, to make a move, whether that's a move to carry the ball further down the field, so to speak, to make progress, to outline next steps. We heard a lot today, and it's time to make that. I've heard a lot of new information, which is great, and I know that we have a lot more information that we have to get at, and I hope that we will do that in earnest. Thank you.
Okay. If the board has no more comments or questions, then we'll entertain a motion.
Mr. President, for the benefit of my colleagues, I have provided this motion in writing, so it's really clear. I'll hand it to my right first. And for the benefit of the public, and Vice President Miley, I'd like to read it out loud. The motion is that the board declares a non-binding intent to contribute a portion, and I want to emphasize, a non-binding intent to contribute a portion of its share of the incremental property tax that will be generated from development of the Waterfront Ballpark District at Howard Terminal into an enhanced infrastructure financing district to be governed by public financing authority with members appointed equally by the city and county to be formed over the project site for the purpose of financing eligible on-site affordable housing, public parks, and other infrastructure of community-wide significance, and that a county committee be created consisting of at least 2 members of the Board of Supervisors, the CAO office, the Auditor Controller office, and a third-party CPA firm to conduct the analysis of the proposed project funded by the Oakland A's, and that to be brought back to the Board of Supervisors. That's the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second on the floor. Any comments? Supervisor Chan?
Okay, well, it's been a really long day. I want to thank the staff and the speakers. I do want to say to the speakers, there are who think there's nothing to weigh. There is a lot to weigh here. I will support this motion, but I do want to just kind of review the pros and cons of this from my point of view. I think all of us would like the A's to stay. It's not just having a major league baseball team in this area, but the A's have a long history, huge long history in the city of Oakland. And going back many, many years, many decades, and it would be a shame to have them leave. Secondly, the people who said there's no benefit, the land will be used. We've all been out to the site. It's an empty site right now. So the land will become useful, and it will create jobs, which are really important, particularly during the pandemic. But most importantly, this is a non-binding intent. So as County Council said, there'll be future votes, or we could step away from this agreement at any time we want to. In terms of things that I'm going to be looking out for, more on the cautionary side, is I believe there should be more low-income housing on the site, including a certain number of units for very low income. There's going to be 4,000 units, I believe, and only 450 affordable units. So I think a portion of that, certainly, that's a pretty small percentage, could certainly go to very low income. I think that this project has to ensure the vitality of the port and the businesses located nearby. These are all things I'm going to be watching for. Thirdly, I think there has to be a commitment by the project developers to maintain the diversity of that area. I think that with so many market rate condos, I think it would be a shame to see rich out-of-town people come, and those will be the people who are going to be occupying that whole section of town. Oakland has always been proud of its diversity and always wanted to keep that special aspect of the city of Oakland. And fourth of all, I do have to say that I was a little bit alarmed to learn that the A's are going to be charging interest on public money. People say that $450 million or up to $450 million isn't much, but it's about 20% of our whole budget. It is a lot of money, and that money is taxpayer money. It's not money that came from a private firm or from a corporation. It's each of us who live in the county pay taxes on it, and we're supposed to safeguard that money. And I think I just don't think it's right for a for-profit corporation to charge interest on taxpayer money. I feel very strongly about that. But I think we should go forward, so I will support the resolution.
Mr. President, I have a correction to make.
Yes.
I've just learned from County Council the sensitivity of these negotiations. By adding a member of the board, or 2 members, it would become a Brown Act meeting. I'd like to withdraw the portion that reads, consisting of at least 2 members of the Board of Supervisors, from the motion.
What does that mean?
I'll ask County Council to answer that question.
So I think what Supervisor Valle is saying that the body that would be created would be an ad hoc committee that would not include 2 members of the Board of Supervisors, but it would include the CAO, the auditor, and the consulting firm, as he outlined in his statement. But the idea is that it would be an ad hoc committee, because it's a committee that's convened for a limited time, for a limited, specific, narrow purpose. And then they can study it, and it would not be an open and public meeting, but it would allow the county to do the staff work that it needs to do nimbly and quickly, because it could meet without being subject to the formalities of noticing and public comment and a meeting that goes all day like the one we've had today.
There's no committee that can be created. It's already on. There's no committee that can be created that has 1 or 2 board members on it that can't meet privately and get work done. If even 1 board member or 2 is on it, then it always 100% must be a Brown Act committee, noticed, all meetings open to the public. If there's a committee created by our board, then yes.
Correct.
That's what I'm hearing. Okay. I wasn't aware of that. I guess we don't have a choice then.
I'll ask if the second would approve of my change.
Based on that, just to reiterate again, there's no way to create a committee. The board can create a committee with a member of the board or 2 that does not require Brown Act. Okay, then I will comply with that, but I'm not sure I'm not sure I understand that fully. Okay.
So are you striking that whole last part, or are you just saying that the CAO, auditor, controller, and third party conduct analysis? And
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yes, and I will amend my second to comply.
Supervisor Miley.
Yeah, thanks, President Carson. Yeah, I got
kicked off, couldn't get back in to speak. Let's see here. And so I didn't hear all of the motion. Could I hear the motion again, please?
Absolutely. Let me read it back with the revision. The board declares a non-binding intent to contribute a portion of its share of the incremental property tax that will be generated from development of the Waterfront Ballpark District at Howard Terminal into an enhanced infrastructure financing district to be governed by a public financing authority with members appointed equally by the city and county to be formed over the project site for the purpose of financing eligible on-site affordable housing, public parks, and other infrastructure of community-wide significance, and that a county committee consisting of the CAO office, auditor controller, and a third-party CPA firm to conduct the analysis of the proposed project funding, funded by the Oakland A's, and to be brought back to the Board of Supervisors.
Okay, thanks for reading the motions. I could hear it in its totality. So I need to ask, so you have the word intent. So legally, I just need to ask County Council, does that word as bind us? Because he has intent, not a willingness, he has intent.
So you've used the word non-binding intent. So that again, that the critical word there is non-binding, and so it is not as it is a little more intentional than the word willingness to consider or the phrase willingness to consider, because you've gone a little bit step further, but it is still non-binding.
Okay. And I just want to thank all the speakers, both the folks who spoke earlier today and then who spoke after the redistricting meeting. And clearly, as some of the speakers have pointed out, people are divided on this issue. I think there's questions on both sides of this, but I think our willingness to at least go further and based on the motion gives the county an opportunity to do more due diligence around this and doesn't hold up any possible progress that could be made that would serve the public interest. So with that being said, I'm supportive of this at this point in time. I would just need to get a sense of, with the motion, if it's approved, do we have any sense when we will hear back on this matter, how long it will take? And then it is the intent of the motion that the A's will pay for the staff costs associated with this.
I don't know that we discussed the timing of it or how long it would take. I guess that would be, it feels like that would need to be meant to be seen. However, I also do agree that, to your point, we set direction, and we as a board need to be very clear about our expectations. We as a board should be asking, I believe, the questions of how long it would take, asking for periodic reports. I, for one, am probably not going to allow myself to go for 4 months without asking for very periodic updates. But that's something that I think needs to be handled by maybe the group that is hired and our staff that we entrust to do the hard work. Maybe we can get a report back quickly as to what that timeline would look like. But I don't know how we could answer that question without first convening or allowing staff to convene that first meeting. That's just my two thoughts.
I think it would be helpful if, like I said, if the motion's approved, that we get a sense of the timeline and I'm assuming, based on what we heard Dave Caldwell say earlier, they'll pay for this, but we need to get confirmation of that and confirmation of the funds associated with it. Because if for some reason the A's aren't going to pay for it, or they're not going to pay for the total cost, then we might need to look at augmenting that for further due diligence. I do think we might want to have an update status report at some point. And then I think the final thing I would say is I think Supervisor Chan mentioned a number of items that I would co-sign, because quite frankly, even with a non-binding intent, if we do get to a place where we're ready to support and move into enhanced infrastructure financing district commitment, if that might be conditioned upon certain things having been either fulfilled or being addressed to our satisfaction. Okay, yeah. Any other final comment, Supervisor Miley? No, but I want to just thank you, President Carson, for the manner in which you conducted this meeting today. Thank you. I want to make a couple of comments as well. I want to again go on the record. I started off by saying that I fully support keeping the A's in Alameda County. And as I stated earlier, I fully supported keeping the Warriors here and the Raiders here, but not at just any cost. I want to also go on the record that I also support the estimated 25,000 union jobs that the project is supposed to create during the construction of this massive construction undertaking. So I want to go on record about that. I also fully support the estimated 7,000 union jobs that is highlighted in this proposal. I support that. The thing is, nobody has raised the fact, other than Dave Cavall and the A's, that they're very frustrated at this point in time because it's been 5 years, not 5 months. We've had less than 5 months. It's been 5 years of them sitting at a table attempting to negotiate with the city of Oakland. Everybody's let them off the hook on that. 5 years, but we're getting our butt kicked on 5 months. And this is not even an area where we have, as a county, oversight and a responsibility. That doesn't say that it's not intrinsically a very important project that's needed to revitalize the area. But initially, this board, based on the discussions that we were hearing about 5 years ago, wanted to make it easier for the A's to consummate a deal. So again, I mean, while we're getting our butt kicked for tonight's action, we over 3 to 4 years ago understood that they were trying to get to a yes. And this board took a lot of energy and time to say that we would sell our half interest of the Coliseum in order to make it a smoother trail for the A's to consummate a deal. Because we knew that historically, having two public entities with two publicly elected bodies having different points of view has been complicated for the sports groups that we've had here. And so with that, nobody's saying that was a good thing to do. We're being even criticized for that. We sold our interest in order to just pay off our bonds so that the A's would stay here and that there would be a deal. At that point in time, our understanding is that the focus was East Oakland, the Coliseum site, and the information that we were gathering at that time, even though it wasn't our deal, was that was the site. The fact that they've come up with a different site is a different issue. And no one has seemed to be questioning the fact that it's been the spokesperson for the A's that even today underscored the fact that there are still a lot of outstanding issues and deals for them to consider in this private business deal, and that there are still a lot of unanswered questions on a number of things. At this point in time, we'll be taking an action, and I felt we were about to take that action back in May when we were asked publicly, not privately, not in a letter, and trying to be collegial. No one reached out to us and said, hey, can we talk to you about this? This is what we're thinking. It was done in public, and we were forced to respond to it in public, in which we were supposed to take up back then this whole issue before the city of Oakland, which has the responsibility, took an action. And we had 3 members that were ready to take an action that night without the city of Oakland taking their action around this deal. And here we find ourselves again today, taking an action without having basic information that 5 years the city of Oakland has been dealing with. In less than 5 months, we've been not even given the majority of information that's needed around this. But today, even the spokesperson for the city for the A's have said there's a lot of unanswered questions that they still have. But we're willing to get out there and put our monies out in front. We have not heard where they are in the entitlement approvals. We have not heard where they are in the environmental impact report. We have not heard where they are on the design standards and general plan amendments. We have not heard where they are on the development agreements. Again, this being a private business deal with a large corporation, they even stated on the record several times that we were never a part of this deal. They never had considered the county pitching in its money in order to deal with this. That meant to me that they had had their financial advisors, independent of the city of Oakland, being able to cost out not only the projected project, $6 billion project, but they also had some sense of where the revenues would come from in order to do that. And for all of this to be totally focused on the county's $355 million out of a $6 billion development deal, $6 billion and $355 million of county money being the linchpin to this program, says to me that the city of Oakland didn't give any consideration for other options. They put all of their eggs in one basket. I know our county administrator and our department heads always have options for how we finance things. I mean, that's only reasonable, that this is the only way to finance that, through having us participate in the Enhanced Infrastructure Financing District, and that we give up $355 million of potential revenue going forward, is the only way to do that. You know, I have a hard time that there are not any serious consideration. Even today, we question what the revenue streams were and are going to be there, but yet and still we said we will take a non-binding vote to say take our revenues going forward. What are our revenues used for? People are saying this is very easy, and it may be easy to say do it, but what are our revenues being used for? Our revenues are being used to try to keep our hospitals open. And it's a matter of fact, it's a matter of public record that there are some that are on the brink of closing that provide life and death situations to individuals. That's what our constitutional statutory responsibility is, and that's what these monies go for. Our monies are to make sure that we feed people, and I would like to put up right now a picture that I just took over the weekend. And if you can recall, the weekend, it was raining cats and dogs. And this photo is showing a group of people who've been standing in a line, senior citizens, trying to wait to get food 2 days ago here in Oakland, California. And that is only a part of that line. Our responsibility has been around feeding individuals. We put in terms of making sure that people got fed. That's now, that's not 5 years, that's not 10 years, that's now, that people get fed. We put our money into making sure that we kept people housed, because that's our responsibility. But we're going to gamble.
Objections. I'd like to move items 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 was pulled, 17, 18, 19, 20, 25 was withdrawn, 26, 27, 28, 29 was pulled, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, and 48.
Is there a
Second.
second of the motion? Been moved by Supervisor Chan, second by Supervisor Halbert. Are there any questions on any of the items that are in the mass motion? Is there any comment or question from anyone online?
No speakers.
No speakers whatsoever? Okay. Could you do a roll call, please?
Supervisor Howard?
Aye.
Supervisor Valle?
Aye.
Supervisor Chan?
Yes.
Supervisor Miley?
Aye.
President Carson?
Yes. The next item that we have to take up is which item?
Item 21.
Supervisor Miley?
Aye.
President Carson?
Yes. Next item?
Item 23 is the first reading of salary ordinance amendments as well as adoption of 2 side letters of agreement between the Alameda County Management Employees Association's Sheriff's Sworn Unit and the county.
An ordinance amending certain provisions of the 2021-2022 County of Alameda Salary Ordinance.
Move to waive the first reading of the salary ordinance and move adoption of the 2 side letters.
It's been moved by Supervisor Chan, seconded by Supervisor Valle to waive the balance of the reading of the second reading of the ordinance and move for the adoption of the ordinance. Are there any questions or comments from board members?
Yes, President Carson.
Yes, Supervisor Miley.
Yeah, can the staff explain this this ordinance that we're adopting in reference to the state of California public health officers' orders and what exactly we're doing here, how this is tied to anything we are putting forth in Alameda County relative to our any policy we might be eventually establishing.
Supervisor, I believe that the HR director is on the line, and this implements the state public health officers' orders, but I'll let the director speak to that.
Thank you, County Administrator. Thank you, Supervisor. Yes, this ordinance is with respect to those employees who are subject to recent state health orders and certain work environments that they are in that require them to be vaccinated. For those employees who are requesting an exemption from that vaccination requirement based on religious or medical concerns, the accommodation is regular COVID testing. What this ordinance does is the county will pay for the testing on county time for those employees to get tested. And it will also cover any mandates that will come prospectively. And additionally, it will cover the cost of vaccination and the time associated for the employee to get vaccinated as well.
And at the moment, the county hasn't established an official policy yet
Correct.
So with the action we're taking with this ordinance, when we established our policy